Take 646.
Not quite. Not quite, Mr. Cox.
The last episode.
Thank you for having me again.
Welcome.
We are back in Milan. We are back in our podcast studio, which is your detailing place. This is the lost episode, we call it, and it's completely my fault. I take responsibility for it. We already filmed this and recorded this podcast. It got lost during the editing. And it was an episode that we already published in German because that episode did not get lost. And we are now redoing this for the English listeners because they asked for it, which is the ceramic coating revolution. That's the topic of it. So, a little bit of a backstory. I had the feeling that starting, I would say 2024 and definitely 2025, I saw interesting stuff and claims within the ceramic coating space, which means all of the manufacturers started to promise better performance, longer durability, better resistancy, but also easier and quicker application, less or more forgiving coatings, and also faster curing coatings. And that all sounded to me a bit too much, or is it actually a revolution that is taking place? That is the main question of this podcast, because you are definitely more into the product development of those ceramic coatings based on your work with Labocosmetica.
Yeah, I'm not a detailer anymore.
And that's what we are talking about. Is there actually a revolution, or is it just an evolution of ceramic coatings? What is happening there? And what is it that we are seeing in the space right now?
I think we see a re-evolution.
A re-evolution.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have
now I'm interested.
In existing coatings making their application and forgiveness better. That is the biggest jump we have made.
Okay.
From our perspective, what we have made and what we have upgraded, and then looking at the competitors, they have done the same.
Yeah.
Where they have found other materials that can do the same that the old materials can do, or the development of the existing materials turning into new materials.
Okay.
A polymer used to be a polymer. Polymer is now more upgraded to polysiloxane, polysiloxane, stuff like that. Don't know what they look like. I'm just saying these names because I know these names. I'm not sure what the substance is because I think it's all like a white powder when you see it. And white powder can be many things.
Yeah.
Flour.
Cocaine.
Normally I say cocaine. Right? Today somebody else gets to say cocaine. But they look like, indeed, yes, they look like. And the application and forgiving has been indeed a big jump. So I remember the first launch of C-Quartz UK 3.0 or 2.0, but that was the first one, and that is 4 or 5 years ago. Don't pin me on the number exactly, but I remember they were the first one to officially show that the temperature of the panel was 27 degrees. They were outside, they were doing this coating, this installation. That still had the possibility to do that was a big jump, and now 5 years later you see it is actually not that special anymore if you have a warmer panel.
Good shout out.
Yeah,
maybe they were the first ones. Yeah.
I think let's rephrase. They were the first ones to show me through a video that you did not have the ultimate conditions of room temperature and below 50% humidity. Yeah. They showed the exact opposite. Yeah. A warmer panel, 27 degrees, with an outside temperature with the humidity, and then they showed a flawless installation. Now, I've now, through a lot of testing between brands, found that there is many similarities in them, and that we are looking for the wrong things during the application. So if a manufacturer says, look for the sweating, they don't state how much you need to put on to create the sweating. Because if you do too little, you won't get any sweating.
Got it.
So solvents have changed, raw materials have changed, upgraded materials have changed, and therefore we see that the upgrade from HPC to HPC 2.0, those solvents are completely different. The key ingredients completely different.
For the listeners who are not familiar with the terminology, that's your ceramic coating, your beginner ceramic coating, your top coat. Okay.
So the one that you put on the base, and that significant jump is extreme. You cannot leave the original HPC alone for 10 minutes because then you will have problems. Yeah. And the new HPC 2.0 you can leave alone for 10 minutes, a half an hour, and you will not have any problems.
as funny as it sounds, that product, when I first tried it when I was here in Milan, that was what this whole, you call it revolution, that was what manifested it for me. Because I had not yet seen such an easy and forgiving coating to apply. I'm not saying that there aren't any and there weren't any before, but that was what manifested it for me, and that was why I wanted to do this episode with you. Let's try to dissect all of this, and let's maybe try to find out together what it exactly is that has changed and why it has changed. So, you are famously the guys, and I still think you're the only ones who make a differentiation between physical and chemical coatings.
Yeah.
What exactly is that? Why do you do that? And why are you the only guys doing that differentiation?
I think it began with inorganic and organic substances.
Got
in
it?
coating.
That
was
term
the
I
first,
heard
yeah.
more often, yeah.
But that means it's still very broad. So anything created that's not existing in nature is inorganic.
Yeah.
And something organic comes from something that is existing in nature or is already existing, something like this. Don't pin me on it. Again, I'm not a chemist.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to differentiate the differences between in this case, what we call a chemical coating, because a chemical coating doesn't create a physical barrier. You are putting a material on the surface that is going to give you smoothness, silkiness, hydrophobics, and chemical protection. However, if you rub a chemical coating with a microfiber towel and you press your finger on it and you rub it back and forth, the coating is gone.
Okay.
You are able to remove them physically.
Yeah.
When you have a physical coating, that means that there's something left behind that is impossible to remove through normal washing, abrasion actions.
Yeah.
So you have to go to polishing, stuff like that to get it off. But normal washing is not going to remove this coating.
Okay.
So simply a physical layer that you can literally put on the car, that is the physical coating. Does not be removed with physical abrasion.
I guess is not as hydrophobic, not as slick as the chemical one.
No, especially during the training. When I do a training the day before, if it's a 2-day training, the day before I apply the coating without wiping it off. And then to show what a physical coating is or what a chemical coating is. When we then come back the next day, you have this resin from Blindo, you have a rainbow from STC.
Blindo is your physical one?
100% physical, so it's literally just a resin in a bottle. And STC is a mixture of physical with chemical protection.
Okay, don't go too fast because we will talk about the mixture afterwards.
The hybrid, so to speak.
Okay, got it, that's the difference. Are all coatings always either one or the other, or are there mixtures?
Mixtures, a lot of mixtures.
Okay,
we are, I think, together with Modesta, we are the only ones. Maybe one from Kamikaze you can count as a really, really dominant physical one. Maybe Enrai, but BC04 for sure is the most physical coating I've seen in my life ever. This is the first one I could measure after application. Word on the street is that Nebula from Angel Wax also has physical capabilities by being measured after, so that there's a difference. With Blindo, it's almost impossible with the consumer grade paint thickness gauges to prove that it's there by thickness. But I 100% for sure can tell you that Modesta BC04 is measurable. So you're putting literally a liquid piece of glass on the car as an extra layer of clear coat.
So that means that all other ones are either chemical coatings or mixtures of both.
It could also be that they use a substance that is in between physical. So when I'm talking about physical, I'm talking if I let Blindo dry up, I literally have a piece of glass in my hand that I can look through. It's perfectly clear.
That's an interesting one.
And I can break it, I can flex it. STC, I can do the same, but Blindo is 100% clear. So it's like a magnifying glass, perfect. And because STC is a mixture that has chemical protection inside, it's not 100% clear, it's yellowish. But then it's also thinner than Blindo, and therefore it's because of the titanium oxide, it's harder. So it's thinner and harder, where Blindo is thicker and less hard, but has more flexibility inside. So if you make a ceramic coating, you will have to make a choice which direction you want to go, because the more physical you become, the more rough it becomes. And with rough, I mean if you rub the surface, it feels smooth, but if you wipe a microfiber towel, it's like running into a wall. You feel friction. And that is because the coating material is fairly rough, and it needs to be closed by a top coat.
So maybe to translate it for the listeners, this means that a physical coating will be very good at preventing micro scratches.
I would say yes, in combination with the smoothness of the chemical coating, because that's where the bonus comes in.
Now it gets interesting because there are physical, there's chemical coatings, there are mixtures, and there are combinations of both, where you first apply
hybrids.
a physical one and then a chemical one.
For Blindo, for example, Blindo cannot survive by itself. But it will take in chemicals, it will have reduced visibility, or reduced beading. Maybe if a good sheet, STC the same, it sheets very well, but it doesn't bead.
Okay.
So that's why you put on the top coat to even the coating out, to slick it out, so to speak, and then provide the chemical protection. Because the coating, the base coat, is not there to prevent anything. It is there is a little bit of prevention, reduction. It's not prevention, it's reduction.
Got it.
Because prevention is not, scratching will scratch always.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what we do, it will scratch.
Yep.
So the base coat is there to take in the damage that would normally go in a clear coat.
Got it.
So you have a sacrificial layer that's taking in all the damages that you normally have with washing, the swirl marks. Then when you put the top coat on, it smooths it out. And then when the surface is extremely smooth, you don't get the grip. And because you don't have any grip, there's less chances of making the scratches. But if I'm an idiot and I put a handful of sand in my hand and I rub it over the coating, it has destroyed everything. It destroys everything.
Yeah, for sure. So does that mean as soon as a brand and a manufacturer gives you one bottle, and just that one bottle, that it is always a mix of a physical and a chemical coating?
Probably. Okay. Most of the time, if you let them dry up, you can see if there's something really
that would have been my follow-up question. How are consumers able to differentiate if a coating is a physical or a chemical one? They can't by just looking at the bottle, right?
No, you would literally have to put some on a panel to let it dry up completely to see what is left.
Or a piece of plexiglass, because
piece of plexiglass.
Yep.
So anything that you can see that there's something left. So if you take, we have another hybrid, it's called SAM.
Yep.
It stands for self-assembled monolayer, and you can look it up on Wikipedia. I've read it multiple times, but I cannot make a clear story. But basically it comes down that the mixture of chemicals lands onto the paint in combination with oxygen, I guess, and UV. It activates itself and starts building a layer. So if you let SAM dry up, you get sort of a whitish powder like sugar. It's like sugar. But when you let Blindo dry up, you get a sheet of glass.
Okay.
When you let STC dry up, you get a very thin sheet of glass that is a little bit yellowish. Okay. And when you let HPC dry up, there's nothing. You see a little bit of the, you can still move that around after one day. Okay.
So now, critical question. You have this double system where you have Blindo, which is the physical coating, and then you have other coatings which are mixtures, and then you have also systems where you apply Blindo first and then another one on top.
Yeah.
There aren't many other manufacturers with those two-layer coatings, and I know for a fact that there are other brands out there who say and claim that those two-layer systems aren't really necessary anymore. They are outdated. What is your position on that? Why are there guys like you who do two layers and then pretty much all the other ones in the market go for a one-layer system?
One thing is culture. Nobody wants to do two layers. It doesn't follow up on the fast, easy, simple, and cheap.
I get that.
That is the absolute main reason that nobody wants to do two layers. It's literally not about quality, quantity. It's literally about fast, easy, simple, and cheap.
Okay.
You know, people want to
Got it.
Yeah, that's literally what it is for. And we have two hybrids. One is 80% chemical, 20% physical. One is 70% physical and 30% chemical. And you can immediately see the difference between both. The most physical one is very rough to the touch after application because it's 70% physical. Therefore, it feels that it's taking in more than it normally does. Versus the 20% physical is very smooth, but has less abrasion resistance because you will rub that off multiple times during the lifespan of the coating. So it's a choice. Do you want to go for slickness and hydrophobics, chemical protection? Then you are in the chemical range. Do you want to go for abrasion resistance and taking in damage? Then you are going into the physical range.
But is it always that does every manufacturer face this compromise?
No, because we are focusing more on the resin glassy type of really hard coatings.
Yeah.
And you see now a big shift. It's Max Protect has been doing for a very long time with rubber membrane.
Yeah.
And the bonus from rubber membrane is that they are very resistant. There is let's say 50-50 between the installers, between easy and challenging. I'm not going to say difficult because it's not a difficult coating. Yeah. So that's them. They have more the rubber membrane. Though those can be expanded with something else that is more elastic. But they, again, if I take a microfiber towel and I start rubbing them very strongly, the coating is going to be gone.
Okay.
Regardless of how good the coating is, that place where I rub it, I've got one video where I did a removal of and you can immediately see that the water was sticking exactly on that spot.
So I guess those are just the chemical and physical basic principles of every coating. So every coating will always be a compromise of different properties.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, you have to make a choice. You
Okay.
want to go for
Got it.
the duration of the protection, physical vibration protection, then you have to be in the physical range. If you
Okay.
want to go for smoothness and slickness, you
Okay.
are more and more in the chemical
Okay.
range.
Is there, or what is the main advantage of going with a two-layer
You
system?
have the full potential of both sides.
Okay.
And in a hybrid,
Okay.
you always have
Okay.
a compromise that you
Okay.
have to lean to more one of the side or lean to the other
Understood.
side.
Is it also that a two-layer system gives more security in terms of every professional detailer has experienced it, I guess. There are different and there are difficult paints where you apply a coating and after 2 weeks it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you apply another one, after 2 weeks it's gone. Something is just off with that
Yeah.
paint. Does a two-layer system give you more security in that case, as the first layer acts as a primer for the second one?
I would say that the chances of the top coat latching onto the base coat, the rough base coat,
Yeah.
the smooth top coat
Yeah.
goes on a rough base coat, is higher than if you put it onto the paint by
Okay,
itself. Because
okay.
the paint, for example, if you have PPF on a surface,
Yeah.
it would not make sense to put a coating as Blindo on top of
A
PPF.
physical one.
Yeah, because PPF is thermodynamic, it's soft.
Flexible.
It doesn't make sense to put.
Got it.
You know,
got
when
it.
you make a lasagna, you don't start with the sauce, you start with the base, the pasta.
Okay, okay. I think we have covered that one pretty well. So there, and I guess that has not changed. That has always been there. I guess what has changed is that all the brands have more experience with the chemical composition, the different ingredients, and they are now getting smarter with creating better compromises between those two things.
I think I'm not going to say if I cannot say this, but I believe, based on what I've seen, that it's easier to make a chemical coating than a
Okay.
physical coating.
Okay. Okay, that's an important aspect.
Yeah,
It's
because
easier to make a chemical one. Okay.
as I see that what we made, we see that we during the production and during development, what we have encountered with Blindo, we have encountered things with Blindo we have never encountered before. For every batch of Blindo, we needed 100 liters of Veritas to make sure that the spindle that was producing the coating gets cleaned, because Blindo cures in 70 to 90 minutes. So if you have a production process longer than 70 minutes, the spindle is becoming hard where the coating is pouring out. So every bottle or something, you have to remove with Veritas the coating from the spindle that is pouring the coating into the bottles.
Is that part of the revolution story? Have all brands and manufacturers tried to create more physical coatings
are
in the
not many,
past and are now going towards the
No, not many
chemical
that,
ones?
There are
No?
not many that make their coatings themselves. There are many.
That
many,
maybe
many.
is is an interesting aspect in itself. Can you repeat that and not?
I said that the many coating manufacturers don't make their own coating.
True. We will talk about that aspect in a few minutes. And yeah, not many brands actually do make their own coatings. Okay, got it.
100,000% for sure, G-Technic makes their own coatings. 1,000% for sure, Kamikaze and Modesta make their own coatings. Art to Shine makes their own coatings. Cerakote, I believe, 100% for sure, makes their own coatings because they have the capabilities, the lab, the visibility, they have everything.
Got it.
Gian, not sure.
I
Carco, not sure.
Just to be clear, we don't say that it's a bad thing if you don't make your own coatings.
No.
But okay, just as a reference point. Okay, good. So we talked about the different composition of coatings. Let's now talk about the characteristics of coatings.
Yeah.
So has something changed with the overall resistancy of coatings? Are they more chemically, mechanically, thermally resistant than they were before? Has that changed?
No, that's
Okay.
definitely not true, because we have an upgrade that there is more chemical resistance possible over time. The same flash chemicals, so that most of the chemical coatings can take very harsh chemicals without any issues. If they are not touched, so if you throw harsh chemicals on there and you rinse them off, most of them do not even harm chemical coats.
Good point.
Yeah.
Combination of chemicals and abrasion is
And as
always...
you start to touch, then it
Got it.
becomes different.
Yeah.
And it's different. That's
Yeah.
one thing for sure. And for the rest, by words, yes. By words, they have claimed many times before you have now twice the lifespan, stuff like that. But by physical proof, no. We have not seen an extreme jump.
So that means they always have been rather resistant compared to other forms of paint protection. They are just maybe now a little bit more so.
Yeah, and
so that's not the real revolution that we see.
No, and keep in fact that most of the manufacturers still use some forms of PFAS inside, and when you have PFAS, it's almost indestructible.
We will talk about that aspect, yes. So, okay, resistance is not the reason for the change. What about hardness? In general, what is it with hardness of ceramic coatings? What is with all those 9H, 10H, 11H, 12H claims? What's wrong with that?
So the test for hardness through the pencil test, out of my head, is ISO 15184 and the ASTM D3363.
So those are standardized tests.
This is how you test with the pencil machine, and you have this machine that weighs 2 kilograms, and you have to put the pencil in an angle. You have to cut the pencil specifically, so a pencil point is not a point. Yeah. It is round. So they break the point a little bit, so you have this round, and that is what's dragging over the surface. Okay. But if you read the test in the ISO, they say that test on pencils on one substrate does not count for the hardness. I will give you the factual example that we used. We take a piece of naked aluminum, we apply Blindo, we measure before the hardness of the naked aluminum, so therefore the pencil
with the pencil.
So the pencil that makes the mark, and I'm not saying the graphite mark from the pencil, but the scratch from the pencil itself, determines the hardness. So if the 5 doesn't make a mark, it's 5H, and if the 6 doesn't make a mark, it's 6H, and if the 7 makes a mark, then it's still a 6H.
Got it.
So we tested naked aluminum. Naked aluminum has a base hardness of 6H. Then we apply Blindo, we do the test again, and we come to 9H. So we have an increase of 3 hardness pencils from 6 to 9. But we also show a video where we apply the product to an infinity roof. That infinity roof had a base hardness of 4, and then after the application of Blindo, it had a hardness of 7. We never reached 9H on that panel, because this is the reason why 15184 ISO says that the standardization for a coating hardness test needs to be done on multiple surfaces. So you take a paint, you take plexiglass, you take aluminum, and you take that average of the rise in hardness as the average rise of hardness.
So if you would follow those guidelines, you would state, for example, you have a 3H coating, which means that on average, on different surfaces, your coating is able to create an increased hardness of 3H. Yeah. That would be the correct way of stating it.
Yeah. And then if they say it's 10H, that's impossible, because there are only 9 pencils.
With the pencil scale. Yes. There are other hardness scales.
Yes, but they do not come into one of the tests to test for hardness. There is no MOHS hardness test for paint. There is no test where you are going to rub a diamond over the paint to see how...
So at the end of the day, we can go to a shortcut here and say that all those hardness claims are a bit silly.
Now,
it's marketing claims.
The more you move to the hardness range, the more you lose the flexibility, and the more rough it becomes. The rough to the touch. You can apply, if you apply the Modesta, the Blindo, you feel roughness. There is you have now something very hard, very resistant, but it's very rough. And by itself, it will collect more dirt. There will be more scratches because it's more grippy than a naked paint. So
I know that you once told me that slickness can also influence the results of the pencil test.
I see that myself, yes. So, like I said, you have the point of the pencil that has been broken. Say the paint has I'm not going to say hardness, but firmness. Some paints are very flexible, that the pencil is already making a dent in the paint. So it's not a scratch, it is a dent pressed by the pencil in the paint. Yeah. But if you have a very hard substrate and you apply a coating that is claimed to be 9H, but we find out that the coating makes the surface so smooth that the pencil does not get a grip. So the same pencil that is scratching into the paint is now gliding over the paint because it cannot get any grip because of the coating, therefore giving the idea that it's 9H hard, but it's not. Claiming once again that this pencil hardness test is not enough to determine the hardness increase on a painted surface. You have to do multiple substrates to find out the average, to see if there's an actual increase versus what is actually happening.
So we have several problems with this hardness thing.
Yeah.
If a manufacturer puts a number on there, we simply don't know what it refers to.
No.
Problem one. Problem two, there are different measurements and tests. Problem three, we don't know if all the brands who claim hardness do these tests correctly and according to the certification bodies. And number four, even if we have the number and all the knowledge behind the testing, we don't for sure know what this means for the other characteristics of the coating. So hardness is...
The only thing you need hardness for is to not be able to remove it with a towel. So if you start rubbing...
So again, going back to the physical coating.
That is, physical coating will become hard, and when it's hard, you will not be able to remove it through rubbing with a towel.
Okay, and as you said before, that is not really what changed.
No.
Okay.
I don't see big jumps. We went from, let's say, 60 washes with a harsh caustic chemical in a wool woad. We went to 90 washes with HPC2, and we went to 120 with HPC.
So hardness is also out of the equation.
Yeah.
What about thickness, layer thickness of ceramic coatings? What about that one?
Good one. I told you I have physically measured the Modesta before and after. That was a different change. I've tried the same. Let's say that if the machine was correct, it was 4 microns.
4 microns, that's immense.
That looks like, but if you do the installation, you will believe it a lot more than with any other. Okay. So if you have to hold the towel with 2 hands, clenching it in your... I will make a demonstration, because nobody will believe me. So
at least for the guys who are watching the video, please explain what you do for the listeners.
So I'm now folding a towel that I would normally use for a coating removal application where I have applied coating. If this was a part of Modesta BC04, I would have to hold my hands like this, squeeze the towel, and then try to wipe off.
Okay.
And this is not going to go in once. We have to do this 3-4 times.
Okay.
I cannot do it like this, because there's too much grip.
It is very tacky and grippy to remove. Okay, got it.
Fantastic coatings, unbelievable, and stable for the last 10 years.
You're not the first one who says that.
No, it's really good. And
let's sum it up. I think Modesta is one of the brands I think makes really something different than the others. Yeah. Okay. So going back, what is it with thickness if we don't look at that specific coating?
Thickness is then the biggest variable that will change between detailers. One will have more material on the surface than the other, simply because the temperature, the humidity, the preparation, the type of the paint, wipe off, time on the surface,
type of microfiber use.
There are so many influences about. And like I said, if you have a normal consumer grade paint thickness gauge, it's almost impossible to measure before
I've never, with any coating, been able to prove that a micron of change is there.
Exactly, and that is nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. To give you an idea, the size of a bacteria is, I believe, between 2 to 5 microns.
Yeah, and that alone, as an insert here, as a side note, already tells you something about the claimed UV protection properties of ceramic coatings. What protects your paint from UV rays is the clear coat, because that is 30 to 40 microns thick. The ceramic coating is not even 1 micron thick, so there simply can't be...
The chemistry in the coatings for UV is deflecting, not absorbing, because absorption has a limit, and the deflection is, there are many chemicals that have been successfully used.
Shout out to Dimitri's Garage, I think he's called. He does very scientific testing on products, and he has never been able to prove any UV protective properties with any protective product whatsoever. Coatings, waxes, none. So I don't believe in any of that.
I know for sure that there are a lot of chemicals of particles that can deflect.
Deflect,
UVs, deflect.
So going back, thickness. So you said that it's not measurable, it's not really there. And I guess coatings have not become thicker over time.
I've not seen, because I can't measure them. If I could measure them, then we would have a base number, and then we would have an improvement or a decline.
Okay.
But because there is no base number, you know, I've tried it many times. I've also done multiple Blindo applications.
That's that's the follow-up question. Does layering of coatings actually work and create more thickness?
So the cases that I've done it, I have done it because I was not in ideal circumstances, and I've only done it to ensure a higher chance of particles of coating landing onto the surface.
An even application.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have done 2 STC applications after each other simply because it was a horrific conditions and the flash was very short.
Okay.
So I was not building layers because to prove there's a layer, there should also be a thickness to be measured.
True.
And I know for sure for the physical coatings that is very easy because most of them are thicker, longer, wiping is more drag. So there is more left behind. You can feel that. Also after application, there's a huge difference in smoothness. You feel there's something left behind. When you look at the chemical coatings, you're not talking about a layer. You are talking about parts per million touching the paint. Yeah. You are maybe going into the pores, but you are not closing the paint. Okay. No, in any case. And if they say that you can do multiple layers, I believe you can in the first hour, when the coating is still in its initial closure. Then you have a chance of more particles landing on the surface. Got it. But I'm 100% for sure that if you have a closed layer, you will like to put something on top of that closed layer. It's not going to link. No. There's nothing to bond to.
That's one issue, the linkage problem once the coating starts to cure. And the second one is the solvents which are in those coatings, which are there to soften up the clear coat to a certain degree, which makes the paint susceptible for the coating to accept it. Those solvents will always re-soften the existing coating, right? So it's never that you're like putting layer after layer after layer, like if you do Lego layers.
Yeah,
it's not that principle. Okay, so it's not thickness, layering does not really work as we see it. Side note, very current new coating introduced to the market by Yum, they claim that they have created a coating that is partially absorbed into the clear coat. Have you heard that claim?
No, but you have to prove that. That's a bullshit claim. It's a bullshit claim.
My question is, doesn't every single ceramic coating out there do that? Because of the strong solvents, it softens up the clear coat, which means every ceramic coating will partially absorb into the clear coat.
if you look at a close eye, and it's about time that I buy one, but I will buy a microscope that I can link to a Bluetooth device on my phone, that I can look through the microscope and then take some close-ups from the paint.
I have one. It's not. They're not.
I will find one that is working, so to show the paint after sanding and polishing what the paint looks like up close. And then when you look at the paint, then you see waves. The paint is even not smooth.
Ah, you mean from the side? Well, I'm not sure that works.
No, you have not seen that, because I've seen it done before with the microscope to show
very
perfectly.
Strong microscopes.
With the
not the USB ones.
The bird dropping. No, I mean the one that you can use on Bluetooth.
Yeah, that works from the top.
Yeah, 300.
From the side.
Yeah, but you need to see it from the top so you can see the cracks in a sanded and polished surface. Because nobody have ever seen a smooth paint in their world. A smooth paint to the eye and a smooth paint after 1500, 2000, 3000 is still rough.
True.
So the coating is going in there. It's not going over there.
Okay.
It's going in there. So basically what you have is a smoothing out.
Yeah.
So there's nothing being put on top. There's something going inside.
Okay.
Because even paint is thermodynamic. Okay. So if something is really like glass, it would snap after paint starts to move.
So let's say the claim is we want to see proof.
You cannot prove that. That's you might as well take a story and invent it out of thin air.
I think that's the smart part of the on the brand owner side. They tend to put out claims which are very hard to prove or disprove.
Yeah, so there's exactly that. And what credentials does somebody like that have? I mean, he has 50 years of nanotechnological experience. I mean,
military background, as far as I know.
Yeah, and if you work 5 or 6, 7 years, you know how much it's changed. If you started in 2018 with development of this product, that means that you have revisioned 4 times, because 4 times in that period of 7 years has there been a change in nanotechnology.
Or you haven't revisited, because if you have, as they claim, started to test it in 18 and have now brought it to the market, which means they did not change the original formula.
I don't believe that.
Because otherwise they would have changed and would have restarted the test, which means they did not have 7 years of testing for all the different.
If you have 7 years of testing, that means by the time it's finished, you are outdated. Nanotechnology world is moving so incredibly fast.
Let's sum it up. We have some questions in regards to those claims. Okay, so
minimum.
Thickness is also out of the window. What is about scratch resistancy? Did that change? Is that better, newer with the new type of coatings?
I can still polish and rub off every coating I've ever saw in my life.
Okay, so are coatings scratch resistant?
No, reducing
Okay.
of starting to exist. So what a normal paint, if the paint is completely unprotected and you rub, there is probably a lot more of marks, visible marks, versus a coating. If you do the exact same thing, because it's so smooth, there's less chance of grip.
Okay.
But to prevent scratches, no.
Okay.
There's no punctual force for
I think
the coating.
that's the fairest assessment we can give. Yes, if you're doing everything right, if you're following all the tips and tricks in regards to safe washing techniques, yes, maybe there's a reduced risk of wash-induced scratches. That's what a coating does at max. So that's also not new. Do the new coatings last longer? Do they have better durability?
I've not seen any change in durability.
But I have seen many longer claims of 5, 8, 10, and even infinity.
Yes,
Durabilities.
lifetime I've seen, yes.
Gian gives a lifetime warranty as far as I know.
Fine, you can do that. I just don't want to disappoint any customers. But if you get a free ceramic coating every year because of lifetime, I would say take the lifetime warranty and then
True.
Go for a free layer of ceramic coating every year.
True.
That is a smart thing for customers. Not so good for the detailer.
As a hint to the listeners, we have a separate episode talking about the durability of protective products. So durability also is not the new thing. Slickness.
Subjective.
Okay.
Subjective. I've not seen increase of slickness. That's not true. I had one coating here coming from AX country. It was the slickest I've ever felt in my life. But it had no beading, no sheet. From the beginning a sheet. But by touch, it was the most slickest thing I've ever touched in my life. It was amazing, amazing. But it had no chemical protection, no beading, and it killed itself in 3 washes. It was dead.
Okay, so slickness, yes and no, but generally no. Are the hydrophobics different or better with the new coatings?
No, only the idiots have grown. So now, because YouTubers are so incredibly stupid that they have to put the word super in front of everything. And because they do that, they are changing things that have been fixed in time for a long time. So you have hydrophilic, you have hydrophobic, and you have super hydrophobic.
Let's not go into that.
Yeah, so you have these three. You have these in contact water, and from a certain angle, you can call it super hydrophobic.
If you're really interested in that, I wrote an article in the Facebook group called Detailing Academy Car Care Community. Very extensive article going all into that because there are factually wrong statements out there in regards to the difference between hydrophobic, hydrophilic, and beading and cheating.
Yeah. So
if you're interested in it, or we maybe do a future episode about that.
And then also talk about what I think is the most important one, the roll-off angle.
Yeah.
How much mass? I know one guy from your group, community, did that test with a spectrometer on a ADBL product, before and after.
Yep.
He had the side camera and the infrared and everything, and he showed contact angle improvement before and after with the mass of the droplet. So it was 0.1 nanograms of weight for the droplet before and after, same weight, proving therefore the contact angle.
It's not only the contact angle, it's also the contact, I forgot the exact terminology, the necessary force in order for it to start to roll off. It's not only the angle, but also the force or the resistance, I think it's called, roll-off resistance.
Because you have too much hydrophobics, the droplets are going to become very small. Yep. And you can see something like this, and this is what I showed in the beginning when we were developing some of the products. They said, oh my God, this is amazing hydrophobics. Yes, but we are now looking at the side of the car. And if you have an upright side and you have a lot of little tiny hydrophobic droplets, that is a very bad thing. On a flat surfaces, there's nothing we can do. We need an angle for roll-off to come. But if you have an upright surface that is having water in the tiniest form, even if it's the most beautiful beads you've ever seen, it's the worst possible scenario for water spots that you can have.
Got it.
So you need a mass of a roll-off angle to fall off, or that it accumulates 2 or 3 droplets to gain the mass to roll off.
So we have all those different things. We have resistancy, hardness, thickness, slickness, hydrophobics, durability, and you say none of that really changed. No. Did the combination of those things change with the new coatings? No. Is it that these new coatings are better in all of those characteristics and are less compromised in a sense?
No, you see the big shift to the demand of the market, the fast, easy, simple and cheap philosophy.
Okay, so now we go into the application, and I think that is the main story here.
That is
so
the
coatings
entire
coatings have always been hydrophobic, durable. Some of them have been slick, some have not. But they usually have not been easy and forgiving to apply. And that's the big change we see.
That's the big change.
Okay.
You see a big change in price. You see a big change in application.
Okay.
So the ease of application. And then people will go for easy because nobody wants to learn. So I like becoming comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So if something is really difficult and I learn that, then everything else is going to become easy.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for the most easy solution. I'd rather find out the solution of the difficult before I move to the easy.
Yeah.
I did the same with the PPF installation. I started at the most horrific circumstances, 16 degrees, coating on top, stuff like that, to find out where the hi-hats lie. And with the coatings, people expect a little bit of wiping, a little bit, and the ceramic coating is done.
But in general, they have become easier.
Yes.
Does this has something to do with the difference between rainbowing and sweating coatings?
Has to do with the solvent.
Okay.
It's pure solvent.
Okay.
Solvent choice. One does rainbow, one does not. One streaks, one does not. One has darkening, one does not.
Okay.
I mean, too many things. That's why I love this Americans, and they are giving me, it's fantastic. I see some of the detailers literally opening up a bottle of Labo coating. On the back it says wear mask, wear eye protection, wear face protection, everything, and gloves. And then the guy takes the bottle, opens up the bottle, puts it under his nose, takes a good whiff of the smell. And this just shows how incredibly stupid.
Ignorant.
Yeah, ignorant, because stupidity is a choice. You can keep doing this, then you're ignorant, but the fact that you do that just shows that you take, that is, for you is nothing serious, and it's not for your customer because you only care about the application.
Please go ahead and listen to our episode, which is called "Can Car Care Kill You?" Because it's a very important topic.
A lot of people that we will see, oh, we need help, we need donations because they have a strange form of cancer, because they have been working with these products for years. There's an arm growing here. Why do I have a third arm coming out the side? Why do I light up in the dark?
And we're not talking about your penis, just to be...
Yeah, why am my hair falling out? Why do I glow in the dark? Stuff like that, you know. And what I hate the most, when we're launching HPCs, the new HPC Pro, the new HPC 2.0, the only feedback I got was installers. It's really good to install, beading, sheeting is perfect. You install this coating for an X amount of months to years. That we know that this installation was going to be easy was one of the key goals. But do you put the coating on for yourself, or is it for your customer? What does your customer think of this stuff? You know, how is he handling it? Because the pros, the HPCs, are not physical coatings. You can rub them off strongly enough. So how is it going from the customer side? Now, slowly but surely, feedback is dropping in that customers are also satisfied. You know, some people will never be satisfied. We also have flawed installations. I also have 2 flawed installations on the same car, where I cannot get to the point why this coating did not do what it needs to do. But if I have a 90% success rate, I'm not going to fall off. So nanotechnology is extremely complicated. Nobody in this industry is able to tell me how ceramic coatings bond to the surface. Everything is
partially absorb.
Yeah, partially absorb or link permanently to the paint.
Cross-link.
How? How is a liquid bonding to the surface? Is there a hook? Is there an anchor? What is it? Nobody's able to give me these answers. All I get is fucking retard of an influencer dude explaining to me what he's reading on the bottle. Yeah, that's super cute, but that is already, we know that what's on the bottle.
Or what a chemist told him.
Yeah, the chemist told me, and my chemist this. Who are these people? Show me your chemist. Just put him in front of the camera and let him explain.
At the end of the day, it's all difficult because...
Hey!
Marco, the CEO of Labo, just visited us. No one can see it. It's nanotechnology. By definition, it's so small we cannot see what's happening. It's a clear liquid that you put on a paint and then something happens.
And hopefully you do everything correctly, and hopefully your customer will endure it for the period of time. That's why when we train for the preparation. We train for difficult circumstances. We make sure that when you do the training, that you are able to put on this coating in the winter, in the summer, in the fall, in the spring, every single time. And that when something goes wrong, and it will, Because people that say I didn't have any high spot just means you didn't find it.
Exactly.
It's there. Trust me, it's there.
Good transition to the next topic, high spots. I definitely have heard of many brands that claim that there is a reduced risk for high spots. Is that a new thing or?
No, it's not. Okay. No, the high spot is the installer. The installer is the person that is installing the coating. And what is a high spot? It is non-removed coating. That's simply what it is.
Product.
Yeah, excess product. If you really wipe off a coating, it's not going to become a high spot. But for a high spot, I mean, most of the people that have done a big car know about the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah. It's in the middle of the hood, right in front of the windshield, where your arm is not able to wrap, and where you have this little triangle from the wipe off, and it's a high spot, but it's unwiped off coating.
Yeah.
So coatings don't make high spot, people make the high spot.
Got it.
But you put it on, you have to wipe it off. You didn't wipe it off, you have a high spot.
Marco, can we help you? Can we help you? Can we help you? Okay. Okay, good. All good. So the only thing we can say is those coatings have become easier to apply.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, I will be the first one to admit that the forgiveness of removing a high spot has increased dramatically.
Good, all right. Now we are talking.
The color of the high spot, so the depth of the high spot has been reduced. So that there is less clear of a high spot.
All right.
Say okay, if STC makes a high spot, you have the rainbow spot, and you can clearly see it.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the polysiloxanes, they apparently are not white, but they are clear. So they give a different type of high spot, and because of the solvents, you often have an extended life that you can remove the high spot without chemically attacking the coating.
So it's not necessarily an easier application, it's just a more forgiving application.
Yeah.
A greater window of time where you can remove the mistakes you make, they're easier to remove. All right, more forgiveness. That definitely is a new thing.
Yes, and that is something that every detailer has something for, because the lighting, so everybody's hunting for the light that is going to find the high spot. The light is not there. You need something to deflect the light on.
Yeah.
So you shoot it on something white, reflect it on white, then you get like a flood over your car, and then you can see every single speck.
As a tip to every professional detailer, those lighting boxes for making videos, perfect for finding high spots.
Nice LED panels that have the floodlight. They don't have direct light, but floodlight. It's just
floodlight that's what you want. No, not the polishing lights you have.
Because the first series of Scan Grip we tested for the CEO of Scan Grip. He gave us 2 sets to say, okay, then we put the diffuser on, and I said diffuser is cute, but it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. No.
We can't find the high spot because I already know where it is. And
you need a flat surface of passive light.
That's why you
light boxes.
That's why you see them outside so clearly. You do it inside, you think I have a good installation,
and then you drive out, but only if you have a consistently blue sky. Then you see them.
Yeah.
So that already tells you what type of light you need. So more forgiveness. So now we have finally found something that is actually new. Where does this come from? This new forgiveness?
That is solvent. Solvent and material.
All right.
So if I remember, if you take the old HPC, we had about 33% to 35% of the active polymer inside, what is extremely high considering the top coat. And because the polymer back then was white and not clear, you had a big darkening effect. Because you had a big darkening effect, you had more chances of shadows and high spots.
True.
Now, when the solvent has been changed, the polysiloxane is clear, so it doesn't make the darkening high spot, it just makes a spot of the product that you can still remove. And because the solvent has become less aggressive and less volatile, there's more time to wipe it off. So if you have a very volatile solvent, you have a very fast flash time and a very short window of wiping them off. Last week I was testing a coating for a company. They wanted to know if everything was fine. The first 1.5 minutes, no, that's not true. The first minute everything was a dream. From 0 to 1 minute, the wipe off was fantastic. But somewhere between 1:20 and 1:30, it flash stuck. So in 1 to 20, 1 to 30, it was like, done, unwipeable. And that happened in less than 30 seconds. From easy wipe off to impossible to wipe off in less than 30 seconds. Simply because of the volatility of the solvent.
That is not forgiving.
No.
Okay.
It was really good stuff, but we made actually what we think was the best coating in the world. It gave everything in one layer. but it did not follow the demand of the market: fast, easy, simple, and cheap.
Okay.
It was an absolute nightmare to apply. But when you had it on the surface, you had the best ceramic coating in the world.
I think at the end of the day, for a manufacturer and a brand, that is the main challenge, right? Getting all those different aspects, which are a result of all those different products, solvents, solids, resins, and so on, and getting the sweet spot where everything works just as you want it. And then you still have outside variables. You have the applicator, or the person who applies it. You have temperature, humidity,
Amount.
paint, car, preparation. You have stuff that you can't control.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have more forgiveness. Does this also go hand in hand with what some brands claim, that they have a shortened curing time of 1 hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to vouch if it's actually true, but that it's possible that a coating can close itself in less than in a working day, like 8 hours. I definitely believe it's possible.
That's an interesting one. So when a brand says 1 hour curing time, what does that exactly mean?
If it's cured, that means it's ready to go for everything. That means
Everything.
I can wash it, I can touch it, I can do everything to it. Then
If a brand tells you that after 1 hour you can drive it outside in the elements, but you still should not wash it for a week, what does that tell you?
that doesn't make any sense. If you can drive it outside in 1 hour, but I have to wait a week to wash the car, there is something wrong. Then the second sentence is either a lie or the first sentence is a lie.
That was always my impression, because, and once again, I have difficulties understanding why no one has actually tested it, or from the brand's perspective showed it, because it's so easy to show. You take a panel, apply a ceramic coating, let it cure for 7 days. You take the same panel, and on the other side you apply it, let it only cure for 1 hour, and then you do some testing, getting it wet, washing it, and show that it actually is the same. But I guess it's not the same. Every coating, per definition, is something that gets hard and needs to cure, and the longer you give it time, the better it is. Every coating.
Yeah, and it depends on the solvent. So if you have the gasoline type of a solvents, the petrochemical, the petrodistillate stuff, they have more the greasy stuff, so they have a slow evaporation rate.
Yeah.
They take more time to evaporate everything, where the other ones, I'm not even sure what the name of it is, but solvents, they evaporate really fast. So when we do testing here, we take 5 working days. So if I apply today a test, then on Thursday, so I got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Thursday I'm going to do the test on the 5th day. And I take the 5 days because the 5 days have been enough for everything so far. It could be that there may be an exception, that one needs a week, but I take just 5 days and I batter them I just try to destroy them after 5 days.
Does a short curing time come with disadvantages?
Yes, that is probably also during application, that you will have less forgiveness, so the solvent is evaporating faster.
Yeah.
Means the flash, the first minute could be a dream, the next 30 seconds could be impossible to remove.
Got it.
Also the health issues, more volatile also often means more...
very interesting aspect, yeah.
Very aggressive and not very good for you, so to speak. And then the combination of the material that is actually the coating material left behind. So there is something I say during trainings, and I only say it to professionals, because I don't say it to consumers, but to professionals. I say if you have emergencies, what is the minimum of each coating before I can give it to the customer? Now, I'll never discuss this online, because it's not a fixed rule, but if there is an emergency and you are a single studio detailer, and you have to wait 24 hours, it means you cannot do anything in those 24 hours.
Yeah.
So you have to close the system.
Yeah.
Then we have the discussion about the infrared. The infrared indeed speeds up the curing, but we don't have any numbers how much.
Yeah.
We now know that with and without Fiero, you need to cure 3 or 4 times with the infrared to have full closure without Fiero, and 2 times with Fiero.
Yeah.
So that there is a speed, yes. But also, again, the infrared does not guarantee that it's going to be cured fully.
Okay.
And I believe, so far, what I can find is that there is no reason to say that it needs 7 days before you need to wash it. What I believe it's the 7 days is for the customer to try to convince the customer not to touch the car, because the touch is what kills it. If he rubs the car, the coating is killed.
Understood.
100%.
Understood. So it's most likely these claims for curing times of 1 hour are that some brands and some influencers and some brand owners saw the repeated questions, especially by mobile detailers, where they were looking for a solution and they just gave them a solution, not by design, not by developing a product, but by giving them the claim that they are looking for.
Yeah. So giving them the edge that they needed. Oh, if it only needs 1 hour to cure, it's perfect for me as a mobile detailer.
Exactly.
I can put it on outside.
Without actually proving that, okay, got it.
And again, who is it telling to us? I'm now telling this emergency protocol that the minimum amount of time to put the car outside is an emergency protocol because it's an emergency.
Exactly.
It's not something that is going to be
It's
a
not
red guideline.
the ideals.
No, you are taking risks by putting the car earlier outside than before closing. So when you do that, you also have to take in effect that there is a possibility for a failed installation and that there could be a possibility of the customer returning with a disappointed look on his face that the coating is not performing to its standards. But that is something that a detailer's responsibility is to guide him through the process, what to do, what not to do. We have had many discussions about maintenance, how to maintain, and then if a customer does it, how do we provide the information? Now, if you look at the information in the booklet of Labocosmetica, it says every wash you have to, according to the guideline, use perfecta. If you hear me, you never hear me putting a topper on a well-functioning ceramic coating. Leave a well-functioning ceramic coating alone.
Okay.
Because it's doing what it needs to be doing. Only help it when it's failing.
Understood.
But you have to give the people a guideline that they can follow, sort of a red line, something like this.
Do you think it's smart to tell people a cure time of 1 hour?
No. You will always, because there is nothing to verify it.
Right? It's an increased risk.
Yeah, if you do it 1 hour and it's not done, and you by any chance have this enthusiastic moment that you want to see, oh, it's done after 1 hour, let's see what happens, and you screw it up, considering the price of some of these coatings, the time it takes to prepare, the time to install it, and then you start to same lighting the coating on fire. We have our coatings protect against 900 degrees Celsius.
We have all seen those videos.
It's great that you can light a coating on fire, but in what case in the real world is my coating going to be withstanding flames? Am I going to drive in a burning building?
If the car burns. But that's the funny thing about claimed heat resistant of ceramic wheel coatings. Your wheels will start to melt before the coating fails.
Yeah,
you don't need a heat-resistant coating, really. It doesn't make
wheels. even a race car. The brakes are hot.
The brakes
are
wheel
hot. is
and
at
the brake
best
particles are hot.
But the freaking wheel itself is not going to be hot.
No.
And if aluminum melts at 630 degrees Celsius,
that's the point.
That means we will see coating hanging in the air because all the aluminum has been melted.
Okay, so what if I have heard some brands claim that their coatings don't need toppers? Is that a new thing?
Every coating will need a topper at some point.
Or don't need toppers.
I mean,
no coating per se needs a topper.
Per definition, the car is not going to degrade equally over time. Some parts of the car will degrade faster than other parts. So people showing me a coating performance after 2 years on a hood that you just gave me, that's an absolute shit coating. Because you are taking the least battered part to show you the performance of the coating. But you always go away from the parts where it's dying first. Behind the wheels, on the lower parts of the car.
And the back.
And that's where a coating is going to fail. So when you reach the point that there's water left behind after the wash, so I'm not going to say that I'm doing it after the beading goes away. No. I'm going to wait till the sheeting. And I want to wait till that sheet leaves some water behind. And that's the moment where I'm going to apply a topper to the area where it's sheeting.
But then you're not really topping the coating. You're applying a new type of paint protection on an area of the car where the coating has failed or been completely removed.
Yeah, but where the self-cleaning capabilities have been done. And it's only an assisting part because the coating will still be there. The corrosion resistance will still be there. But we are so we are so embedded by these influences that the beading is important. While I say if I could make a coating that is going to sheet from day 1 to day 4 years, that does the same thing, I will choose that coating over every other beading coating in the world. If the water disappears without me touching it, then the coating is still functioning. If the water is sticking, then we need to do something to make sure that the water is going away.
You know what my dream job is? It's a complete fantasy, but my dream job is that I am there every time a content creator creates a video, live there, and listening to everything he says, and then I'm able to insert a question right there, right now.
I wish I could
So
do that too.
if an influencer tells me my coating does not need toppers, my first question would be, can you name me a coating that needs toppers? I think no one could answer that question.
I would say how? How are you going to make a coating?
That would be my dream job. Right there, put him on the spot. But that's a fantasy. Okay, so not really a new thing. Self-healing. Is self-healing proper? So let's start first with, is self-healing a thing with ceramic coatings?
Yes.
Okay.
There are some.
All of them?
No, there are some, and we have to look at the extent of what the self-healing is.
Okay.
What was the original damage that has been disappeared through self-healing? Because
Yes.
that is what we need to talk about.
Yes. Okay.
So if I take a piece of Scotch-Brite and I rub that back and forth over any coating in the world, no coating in the world can self-heal from that.
Okay.
If we talk about the super light marring, the super micro, then there, yes, is a possibility, but there's a huge but. Many of the clear coats have the same capabilities. A base clear coat, there are many clear coats, especially the newer ones, that are thinner and more flexible.
Yes.
And would
Softer.
all softer. Well, I say flexible because soft means I could dent my finger in it, but say that they are more weak and flexible, weakening as in that they not fully harden out. They have more punctual damage, they're more punctual impact force necessary, so less chances of stone chipping. And the same part.
So it's by design.
Yeah.
So it's by design that they are softer and more flexible because, you said it, less chances for
and
stone
many
chips.
of the, if you look at the surfaces, so if you take any new bumper from any car right now and you rip it off and you put it on your finger, the bumper will go a lot.
Yeah.
So we are talking about really, really, really soft plastic, really dynamic plastic that expands, contracts with heat. So the paint needs to be matched to that. So on panels, how many real steel panels do we still have? It's starting to turn into aluminum,
Yep.
lighter parts,
Carbon
more
fiber.
flexible, thinner. So even more flexible, more moving parts than in the old cars. If you take an old American, real American Mopar, it's all steel and chrome. The car weighs 2,500 tons. It's a car by definition. And nowadays, it's 99% electronics and a little bit of packaging around it to make the car look beautiful. But if you put it on your finger, the bumper will just fold like this. So for that, you need different paint.
You say most paints are self-healing themselves
to
without
a certain
any
extent.
without a ceramic coating.
Yeah, and then when
Right.
because I had one test going on, I had my new hood, new freshly painted hood, and I had 26 different camos, something like this, 24. I think I had 25 slabs, and then 24 were filled, and one was a control piece. And then I had these spots, and I was using heat, and I was making the spots disappear in combination with the scratches.
I was just about to say it. If you don't believe Reggie when he says paint by itself is self-healing, if you have an etching from bird droppings or water spots that you're not able to remove by polishing, try a heat gun.
Yeah, flash heat, not keep heating up the panel, but that little
Flash
bit of
heat.
could
Try
be
a
enough.
heat gun and be surprised by how self-healing some clear coats are.
You literally can burn,
All right.
evaporate out.
But you said that does not account for every coating and...
Also not for every clear coat.
Okay. So that's also not the big story, the big news story
So
there.
let me rephrase it. So for example, so the car has been scratched up completely. I need an external source of heat in the form of a heat gun. Now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to use the heat gun and I'm going to make the micro scratches disappear. How many hours would I need to do the
For a whole
entire car? You would take more time burning trying to get it out than reapplying a coating and doing an existing round of polish.
What about infrared?
Infrared is coming from inside. It's heating the panel up from inside, so it's heat coming from inside.
That doesn't work?
No,
Okay.
with the heat gun, it's the flash heat that is doing something. It's not coming from the inside. It's the flash heat. I don't know how it works. We have had many of these situations where I said to people, shut the cameras off. I'm going to show you a trick, but only with the cameras off, because if somebody sees this online, I know next week we will have a burning car on Facebook. Because somebody forgot to look away or they put the heat gun.
Yes. All right. Spray coatings, because there are more and more of those spray coatings or light ceramics. I'm not talking about a water-based spray sealant that someone decided is a ceramic spray coating. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the little aluminum bottles or glass bottles with a spray trigger on it.
Can coat.
GM can coat.
Fantastic.
Armor, phobic, stuff like what is it with those? Is that something that has changed because we see
Yeah, it is.
more and more of those?
Look at what you have to do in an application of ceramic, and look at that type of a product. That's spray and wipe. So we have 100% different type of solvent inside. Flash,
All
fast
right.
curing,
Yep.
immediate, because
Yep.
you don't have to wait. Flash, fab. Then you have a different particle because it has to bond faster than a ceramic coating bonds.
Got it.
And for the rest, it's almost the same. And
Okay.
then you have duration, duration.
Can you put a spray trigger on any sufficiently liquid coating? Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
If
Okay.
I would not suggest it because those droplets, if you breathe them in, they will
Yeah.
stay there forever.
True.
And nobody wants hydrophobic lungs.
All right. So that's also not a really new thing.
No, I think that also
Okay.
those products. So funny that one brand is now claiming they are the ones inventing the UV tracer. Well, I have seen a company that has been doing it for years by adding a tracer.
Adams, right?
Yeah, and there's one of them, but there was somebody else years ago that did
Yeah.
it again. So it's
Yeah.
another. We did
It's not
invent
new.
it.
No, it's not.
But it is indeed something interesting if they keep developing
Absolutely.
that. Because we had one beta version, something that we were ready to give to the people to start testing, where for sales is going to be fantastic because you're always going to use 100 milliliters of the spray coating because you will not be able to see where you went. So you're going to do parts twice, maybe 3 times, but the car will be protected very nicely.
Got it.
So we needed to make a tracer.
Got it. So we talked about so many different things, and none of them was really revolutionary, except for the more forgiving application. Is that the main thing that we're seeing now? It's just that these products have finally become easier to apply, more forgiving to apply?
There's a very, very big number of easy to apply coatings now.
Okay.
There's a bigger
That's
group of
the
easy.
shift.
Yeah, there's a bigger group of easier to apply coatings than difficult to apply coatings.
So that's the real shift there.
Yeah, focusing on the installer more. That the installer's experience is more important than the customer's duration experience. And that's also something the detailers are not. Nobody's, everybody said, the installation's fantastic, did that. But what do your customer? What do you mean, my customer? Yeah, you put it on the car for the customer, right? What does your customer think about it? Yeah, I'm happy that you are happy with the installation, but I'd rather your customer be happy with the coating itself, that he doesn't get disappointed about the performance or the duration or the promises that you have made.
So I have one question, and that automatically leads to a follow-up question. I have started to observe that it has become much more difficult to find a bad coating in today's market than it is to find a good one. It seems like coatings have become somewhat of a commodity. Every major brand has at least a good or solid coating. Yes, there definitely are differences. You can feel them, mainly in applications, sometimes also in durability, resistance, and hydrophobics, but at least all the ones from the major brands are solid. My follow-up question to that is, why are there such huge price differences? Because I can get a very decent, very, very, very decent coating for, let's say, 50 to 70 euros or dollars or pounds, and I can get a coating which I think does nothing better than that for 150, sometimes 200, sometimes even 300. Where does this price difference come from?
I'm going to spitball on this one. So I told you that if you want to create a ceramic coating and you are literally starting with tiny bottles of ingredients, mixing and blending them, that is the most experienced part, the most expensive part, because you have small amounts of those expensive chemicals.
Yes.
So every sample could cost up to 300, 400 euros.
Yeah.
As soon as you have the formulation and you have the quantity that you would order, the more you order, the smaller the price becomes. So if I order a batch of 1,000 bottles or I order a batch of 5,000 bottles, it's going to have a big influence on the price. So a low amount purchased from the beginning, so a low amount of stock, could drive up the price a lot. Versus somebody that is able to mass produce this, think about.
That makes some sort of sense.
That's one part, because you have expensive ingredients, you have cheap ingredients, you have expensive solvents, you have cheap solvents.
Got it. And mass economies of scale. So when I think about the cheap ones and the more expensive ones almost always come from small brands or new brands. So that would support your theory that the big brands just are able to buy more of those raw ingredients, getting the prices of the raw ingredients down, and therefore they are able to give those coatings to us cheaper.
That's why car wash is a big business and detailing is cute, because detailing is not you cannot make a dent with the turnover of the entire detailing industry versus the car wash industry.
Yeah.
It's like a joke. It's sand in the desert, 1 grain of sand in a desert full of sand.
Yeah.
Detailing versus car wash. And then they like it when you have 20 kilograms and you sell 1 package versus 20 liters and 20 packages of Primus.
All right. So it's not necessarily bad intent that those prices are so high. It's mostly because of the raw ingredients.
They have no choices over the ingredients. They just order a formulation. They have to give money to their importer. They have to give money to their distributor. They have to have a part of the share. So if you drive up the price at the end, then there is some money left.
Got it.
Do you imagine if we have to outsource? If we outsource our coatings, then the price would go up dramatically, because we have to pay the manufacturer of the coatings the money to manufacture the coating. So you already go in for 30% of the retail price.
In that respect, what do you think about the differentiation between professional coatings, especially certification-only coatings, and DIY coatings? Is there such a thing as a professional coatings?
Yes.
All right.
Let's say, we're going to look from our point of view. So we made HPC 2.0 available to everybody.
Yes.
But if you look at the performance and application between HPC 2.0 and HPC Pro, you will find that you have similar enjoyable application.
Yes.
But HPC Pro is for the professional, to give the professional an edge, a chance to provide a service that a normal guy or a weekend warrior cannot do.
All right.
That's why we made the rule, accredited coatings for the accredited, so that they have to do an installer training, not to how to learn how to install, but to understand what you need to do when it goes wrong, how to fix certain situations, to give an edge that you can supply as a professional detailer.
Reduce
a service.
Risks, right?
Yeah, you can give a service or a coating application from a professional point of view. And if you have professional grade, you mean that it is duration just like a professional coating, that already means that your other coatings are like shit. Because you claim that this is your professional grade coating with the ease of a consumer coating, and then you have your non-professional coating. Why would I buy a non-professional coating if you give me the availability of a professional coating with the DIY install forgiveness?
Yeah.
So that's already a bullshit claim. That means it's not professional. That means it's both just DIY and they put the name professional on it.
So if I understand you right, you're saying that just because one brand has a professional coating in exclamation marks does not automatically mean that this coating is better than the coating of another brand, which is non-professional.
No.
All right.
No, it's just a name that you put
All
extra.
right.
You're going to
All
say
right.
it's professional.
All right.
But I don't believe it.
All right. All right.
If it's for the professional, you make it for the professional, and you do not sell to a weekend warrior. If
All
you
right.
sell it to a weekend warrior, it's not professional.
Okay. So, side note, but maybe also interesting in that respect, what is with all the stuff like Icon Rock Clear, Avantgarde, those wipe-on clear coats, is that something that is relevant in all of this, or is it something completely different?
It's the same description. Same, you are putting something on the paint, it's changing the appearance. But it's if you have something that looks like crap, really looks like crap, and you put something like that on, then you indeed have an increase of a finish. It looks better than before.
What's the difference between that and a ceramic coating?
Oh, the amount. The amount of what is left behind.
So it's thicker.
Yeah, there's a lot left behind, because when you see the filling capabilities of these products, but also the clarity. So the amount of a ceramic coating is so little that you physically cannot see that it's there, versus this stuff that you can actually see, and that it's what they call self-leveling, so it flows into, and then you can still have lanes, and it's simply too cheap to be. If it's that simple, then why are we not buying gallons of this stuff and just pouring this on cars and just walking away, and then no body shop would ever have any work anymore, because you can just wipe your clear coat on for a new 15 to 20 years. It's probably, because of the amount on, probably more protective than a ceramic coating in certain ways. Maybe in scratch resistance, maybe there's a big possibility of an increase in that. Maybe in chemical resistance, because there's simply just more material there.
Okay.
But what is it doing to the end finish? I mean, if it looks like shit, then you will have an improvement. But if you put it on something good, I'm guaranteed it's going to look like shit.
Okay. Last topic, ingredients, and especially the health implications, because one term that is flowing around right now very often is PFAS-free.
Yeah.
Are all of the new modern coatings PFAS-free? What does PFAS-free actually mean? And why is it important and relevant that we talk about this?
Yeah, for me as a Dutch guy, PFAS is very important because we are living in the world center of PFAS. Every single part of the Netherlands is contaminated with PFAS. For every single part of the Netherlands is red in PFAS.
Yeah.
They are never going to go away. Forever chemicals, they are being used.
That's the term you hear.
Yeah,
yep.
Because they changed the name. That's what they do so that every 5 years you have to research the original name to find out that this problem has been going on for 50 years.
Yep.
But they change the names every 5 years. Now everybody's also getting on the PFAS-free train. So throwing claims out that they are PFAS-free. We also make this claim, and after I've been doing research, then we have done everything that we can to generate that claim to have PFAS-free, but the amount of PFAS known to man is more than the existing databases have at this moment. So if, for example, the database of REACH consists out of 2,500 different types of PFAS, and we don't select any of the ingredients that are in that list, then we are PFAS-free. However, when we look at the global worldwide number, we are talking about 4,500 or 5,000 right now, different types of PFAS.
All right. So PFAS-free as a claim only means you don't use PFAS which are on a certain list.
Yeah, somebody has to make a list to make them identifiable as a PFAS.
Right.
And if you are, or if some particle is now still floating around, has not been found yet, or has not been registered yet as a PFAS, and you have that particle in your coating, you can still claim to be PFAS-free because it's not been identified.
Got it.
So if there's 2,500 in the database, and there are 2,500 unregistered yet, then there are 2,500 possibilities to become PFAS-free.
All right, so the term and the claim of PFAS-free is already milky, let's call it like that. Plus, there's a big difference between just claiming you are PFAS-free and getting an external certification, which is what you guys do, Sonex does, IGL does, I'm sure a few others as well, which means you go to an external body which looks at your formulations and actually confirms that it is PFAS-free.
Yeah, or they have to physically test, because we can say it's in there, but if we hide it's in there. I mean,
so they physically test and reverse engineer it and look at, all right.
Yeah.
I think that's a very important aspect that consumers and professionals alike have to keep in mind. If a brand claims that it's PFAS-free, but if it's not externally confirmed.
And it changes nothing. The fact that it's in there or not in there for labo coatings doesn't change anything about risk, safety, health, personal identification.
True.
Everything is the same. So you will still have to wear gloves. You will still have to wear glasses, still have to wear a mask.
Because of the strong solvency.
Exactly. So we remove what potentially could be the most harmful thing over time.
In the long run.
In the long run, versus that it was already been harmful from the beginning and is still harmful with or without the PFAS.
True, because there are brands out there, and we, as you know, we are not afraid to name names in this podcast. If someone like Pan claims that all his products are PFAS-free, which is ridiculous, by the way, because I don't know of any car shampoo in the world that has PFAS in it. If he claims that all of his products are PFAS-free, but at the same time, if you look at the safety data sheets, he uses something like naphtha in his polishes, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
like, exactly what you just
deflecting.
said.
That's deflecting.
Yeah.
Okay, you are saying that you have the long-term, known to man, disgusting type of a chemical you remove, but you still have a majority of life-threatening products. And same for us. I mean, there is a reason those warning labels are on there.
Yep.
So that you prevent yourself from taking in damage. I mean, I hate the brands that don't put them on there. So you have to look online to find an SDS maybe that is going to say that there are dangers inside.
That's also something some new brands and newcomers and startups had to learn, that those warning symbols and signs and statements have to be on those bottles.
I think
people know who I'm talking about.
I hope it's going to happen with the rule in 2026, 2028 or something, where you have to state when you're talking about a certain product, chemical, that you already have to state downstairs in the description of the video that you are dealing with dangerous goods.
True, very interesting aspect I learned from Zonex, that starting I think at 28, you also have to include those symbols and warning statements in advertisements, videos, pictures on Instagram, which means a quarter of the space you have on those little pictures is gone with such that will be horrible for any content creator, because it will open a question, do I have to do that in a product test video? That will be horrible.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And it's going to be scary if you are going to take certain products that have a certain symbol that everybody knows to be very, very, very dangerous.
Yep.
For example, if you have the skull symbol on your product, there is no
That
refuting that you can say it's safe.
That will be interesting. So, let's recap. What is it, in short, that actually changed? Because I still think we see a change in the ceramic coating market. What did change? Is it really just the more forgiving application, with all the other stuff being equal
easier
or
application,
slightly better?
And then, of course, so the ingredients have gotten an upgrade, but you are now talking about a new ingredient. So
All right.
To say that we have made an upgrade means that we have substituted the original ingredient for the upgraded ingredient.
All right.
Therefore, we are now dealing with the newest invention of a nanoparticle called polysiloxane. So we are now starting from zero again. Yeah. Now we see the performance of polysiloxane, but can we say it's an upgrade from? No, it's a totally different product.
Got it.
If it was the same thing, like a shampoo that you have danced around the concentration with, then you could say, okay, we have something. But now you have made another coating. That's why I think it's funny. If you say you started 7 years ago with your coating development, that means in those 7 years you have changed 3 times, because 3 times particles have changed so much that they became so much. I mean, that is the jump. Every single month, somebody's figuring out a new molecule to connect to a polymer. I don't know what else. Every single month. It's one of the most dynamic things. When we finished the project, HPCs and everything, immediately we started with the new project. Immediately. So we finished one that took 4 years in total, and then immediately started with the new project, so that makes sure that in 2-3 years we can re-evolute that what we have right now.
And just to be clear about it, that has nothing to do with graphene, graphene nanotubes, exploded nanodiamonds, whatever. It is not a single ingredient. It is just simply not. It's always the mix of all those. And as I always say, a good product is a good product. It does not matter what's in there. It's not a single ingredient that magically makes your coating better, because the backbone is always the same. Yeah. It's always some form of silicone, siloxanes, polysiloxanes, and resins and solvents.
Yeah, I always get this funny feeling in my stomach this entire podcast. I know I'm throwing out words. I am not qualified to pronounce these words. I'm not qualified to explain to you what these things are. I can only tell you what I've learned from the people that actually know what these things are, and still say that whatever we said today needs to be verified online. So you cannot take anything we said today as to be the truth, because 2 people here without any chemistry degrees are discussing the most complicated chemistry in the world. Next to nuclear fusion, of course.
I don't think car care chemistry is that complicated, Reggie. No, I don't think so.
No, and then you go to Ricky and you spend half a day with Ricky, and then if Ricky can give you some information about how he's making the coatings, you will go on your face in the first hour.
Yes, but then I think if Richie would talk with a nuclear engineer or someone who makes chemical weapons,
micromolecular technology versus polymer technology is, as Giacomo, is a night and day difference. Night and day difference. They will not understand each other because they speak a different lingo.
All right. And then medicine. I think medicine is far more. Biochemistry, medicine, chemistry, I think it's far more complicated than what we do with our cars.
Yes, definitely. We are not dealing with a living organism. So I'm not afraid to test something new on my car. If some doctor says I got a new drug, would you like to test it?
Exactly. or we are not healing cancer, so
we are just cleaning cars.
That's not to take away from any car care chemist. I know what you do is very complicated, but we need to stay realistic here. very interesting episode. So what I took away from everything you told me is a little bit, it's a little bit the same story as with the Porsche 911 GT3. Every time Porsche releases their new version of it, we all think they made it. They nailed it. It cannot be better in any way, shape, or form. And then 2, 3, or 4 years later, they blow us away again by incremental improvements. Yeah. It's never a huge step, but it's always incremental improvements. They always go somewhere. With the last iteration of the RS, they went crazy with the aerodynamics. I'm sure they will come up with something else in the future. It's always incremental changes. And it's always getting better and better and better. I think it's a little bit the same with ceramic coatings.
I wish it was really the same, that everybody was hunting in this direction to make it better. But factually, it shows that
not everybody's doing it.
Most of them don't give a fuck. Really don't.
It's just claims.
Yeah, just throw out there. Especially if you order your ceramic. Hi, you call China. I need a ceramic coating. Especially when you have that, you don't have any idea what you have. You get a bottle with something inside, and you have to build marketing around it.
But then again, those Chinese suppliers are actually getting better and better and better.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
All right.
They can
All
make
right.
you the formulation, but the people that are receiving this formulation have no feeling with anything that's inside. So they will have to take the word from the person that's making it, and then, okay, so this is it. How long you say it's going to be? 8 years? Okay, we have to make some marketing around this. And that's what you see.
But putting those aside, what you say is, yes, there is a small evolution or revolution of ceramic coatings. They have become much better than they were.
Yeah, but the problem is that nobody, excluding us, is showing final durations. So we get maybe 1 year, 2 year videos, max. We don't get 3, 4, 5 year testing videos
because
versus...
everyone knows that ceramic coating long-term testing is the single most useless thing in car care.
Yeah, because it's taking too much freaking time.
No,
Who has time to do a 3-year test?
A lot of people would have time, but if I start a test today and give you the results in 5 years, there will be 2 new versions of that coating.
Exactly.
So
by the time you're done,
even if I show that it lasts only 5 years instead of 8 years, it doesn't matter because the manufacturer can say, yes, but we have 2 new versions.
Yeah, so upgrade version 3 is already on the
therefore,
market right now.
it is absolutely useless to do long-term testing.
But this is the one, and that's why they use the salt box and the corrosion test and the fingerprint test to prove their duration.
Probably.
Because if you made a coating that is developed something for 5 years, that means you started developing it 5 years ago, you have 5 years ongoing test, and at the decision of the 5th year, you're going to make the decision, okay, it's still alive, now we can say it's a 5-year coating. But then again, 5 years has passed, in 5 years, everything has changed, particles changed, solvents changed, so it's literally trying to ice skate uphill.
And as critical as we are sometimes in towards the manufacturers, we acknowledge that it is very difficult. The market is very challenging, it's very competitive, testing is very tough, testing is almost impossible when it comes to durability claims. We all understand that. Yeah. But we still think it could be more transparent and fairer to the consumer in regards to
and get closer to those. Rather, instead of throwing something out there that's going to last 8 years, you want to make something and work on something that you can guarantee for sure is going to last 2 years.
Yeah,
let's say to the
100%.
And let's something like this and focus on that. That is the most 1 year, 2 year coatings that last 2 years are the ones that for me.
I actually think more people will buy that product than an alleged 8-year coating.
Yeah. Because every single customer that's not going to survive that 8 years will be disappointed and will probably never take a ceramic coating again.
Nope. And I see so many more questions by professionals and semi-professionals for a good 1 year coating than a 5 or 8 year coating. Yeah. So many more.
Yeah. It almost makes it, especially also with the quick beading products, it's almost becoming obsolete to apply a coating if you have a quick spray that you can apply in 10 minutes.
True.
That's going to last a month. I'd rather wash and decontaminate my car every month.
How long does a good spray sealant last? Forever if you apply it every month.
Yeah, you know?
Good. Reggy, thank you so much for this episode. It was a lot of talking on your end, but you are the expert in this case.
Experience. not expert.
But your experience doesn't matter, Reggie. We already talked about that in an episode.
Because I have done experience in the right way, and I am the king of experiencing it in the wrong way.
Good. If you watched this episode, thank you very much for very much. Sorry, we have recorded a lot of episodes today. Thank you very much for watching. If you listened, thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one.
100%.
Bye.
Ciao.